10 seemingly innocent people who hid dark secrets. Welcome to Creepshow, your portal to the unnerving and the unknown. Today we'll uncover the lives of seemingly ordinary individuals who turned out to be anything but. These are people who blended into society yet harbored horrifying secrets, proving that monsters can wear the most convincing masks. Let's dive into the chilling stories of 10 individuals whose shocking actions left an indelible mark on history. Number 10. Arthur Schirmer. Arthur Schirmer appeared to be the embodiment of morality. As a former Methodist clergyman, he was expected to uphold the highest values. Yet beneath his religious facade lurked a murderer, responsible for the deaths of not one but two wives. In 2013, Schirmer was convicted of killing his second wife, Betty, in 2008. At first glance, her death appeared to be a car accident. However, further investigation revealed that Schirmer had staged the crash after bludgeoning her with a crowbar. Suspicion grew when authorities revisited the 1999 death of Schirmer's first wife, Jewel. He had claimed that she fell down the stairs while vacuuming, but the circumstances seemed eerily staged. With damning evidence and testimony pointing to Schirmer's pattern of deceit, he was convicted of both murders, ensuring he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. Number 9. John Feit. John Feit, a former Catholic priest, carried the dark secret of a brutal murder for over 50 years. In 1960, beauty queen and second-grade teacher Irene Garza vanished after attending confession at Feit's church in McAllen, Texas. 5 days later, her body was discovered in an irrigation canal, with evidence linking Feit to the crime. The canal yielded a candelabra from the church and a slide viewer that belonged to Feit. A month earlier, Feit had also been accused of assaulting another woman, Maria Guerra, under disturbingly similar circumstances. Despite these clues, Feit eluded justice for decades. It wasn't until 2016, after a renewed investigation, that Feit was finally indicted for Irene's murder. Justice was delayed, but not denied, for his heinous crime. Number 8. Salvatore Perrone. Known as Son of Sal, Salvatore Perrone was a door-to-door salesman with dreams of becoming a fashion mogul. To his neighbors, he seemed eccentric but harmless. However, Perrone harbored a violent streak that culminated in a series of cold-blooded murders. In 2012, Perrone murdered 3 Brooklyn shopkeepers in quick succession: Mohammed Gabeli, Isaac Kadare, and Rahmatullah Vahidipur. His motives remain unclear, but each victim was shot execution-style in their small businesses. Dubbed the Horror on Flatbush, Perrone's crimes shook the community. When police arrested him, they found the murder weapon in a duffel bag he carried. Perrone, a man once dismissed as quirky, was unmasked as a remorseless killer facing life in prison. Number 7. Donald Harvey. Dubbed the Angel of Death, Donald Harvey was a nurse whose name became synonymous with one of America's most prolific killing sprees. Between 1970 and 1987, Harvey murdered dozens of patients under his care. Harvey's victims, mostly elderly and infirm, were subjected to lethal doses of cyanide, arsenic, and even suffocation. His chilling justification? He believed he was sparing them from suffering. Yet the sheer number of victims, at least 37 by his admission, suggested a much darker motive: a desire to kill. When Harvey was finally caught, his eerie calmness and lack of remorse left the world horrified. His life sentence ensured that his reign of terror would never resume. Number 6. Mark Berndt. For over 30 years, Mark Berndt taught at Miramonte Elementary School in Los Angeles. To the public, he was a dedicated educator, but behind closed doors, Berndt committed unthinkable acts of abuse against his students. In 2012, a photo technician discovered disturbing images Berndt had taken of his students. The pictures showed children blindfolded, gagged, and subjected to bizarre games involving cockroaches and other horrifying elements. A search of Berndt's home revealed hundreds more photographs and unsettling materials. The children, many of whom came from low-income families, were unaware of the abuse, thinking it was part of a classroom activity. Berndt was sentenced to 25 years in prison, but his actions left lasting scars on his victims and their families. Number 5. Laszlo Shatari. Laszlo Shatari appeared to be a quiet, elderly art dealer living in Budapest. In reality, he was a Nazi war criminal responsible for the deaths of thousands during World War II. As a senior police officer in the Slovakian city of Košice, Shatari orchestrated the deportation of over 15,000 Jews to Auschwitz. Survivors recalled his sadistic behavior, including whipping prisoners and forcing them to dig graves with their bare hands. After the war, Shatari fled to Canada and lived undetected for decades. Stripped of his Canadian citizenship in 1997, he vanished once more until Nazi hunters found him in 2012. Although he was charged with war crimes, he died of pneumonia in 2013 before facing trial. Number 4. George Doudnot. Dr. George Doudnot was a respected anesthesiologist in Toronto. For nearly 30 years, he worked at North York General Hospital, but between 2006 and 2010, he used his position to sexually assault 21 patients while they were sedated. Doudnot's victims ranged in age from 25 to 75. Many were conscious but paralyzed by the anesthesia, unable to fight back as he kissed, fondled, and violated them. The hospital environment shielded him from suspicion until brave survivors came forward. In 2014, Doudnot was sentenced to 10 years in prison. His betrayal of trust remains one of Canada's most shocking medical scandals. Number 3. Tamara Samsonova. Tamara Samsonova, also known as the Granny Ripper, was a 68-year-old woman who lived in St. Petersburg, Russia. She seemed like an unassuming pensioner, until a grisly discovery revealed her as a serial killer and cannibal. Samsonova was caught on CCTV disposing of dismembered body parts. Investigators uncovered her chilling diary, detailing the murders of multiple victims, including her husband. She described gouging out lungs and eating them, all with a disturbingly casual tone. Samsonova's motive: she wanted to be remembered as a serial killer. Her gruesome confessions have yet to lead to a trial, as she remains under psychiatric evaluation. Number 2. Peter Caruso. Peter Caruso was the picture of a devoted husband and family man. Married for 50 years, he and his wife Rosa were pillars of their Italian community in Brunswick, Australia. But in 2008, Peter brutally murdered Rosa with a hatchet, striking her 36 times. Behind closed doors, Peter was a controlling, abusive tyrant. Rosa endured years of emotional and physical abuse in silence, keeping up appearances for the sake of tradition. When Peter staged the crime as a botched robbery, his alibi quickly unraveled. Convicted of Rosa's murder, Peter died in prison in 2015, never showing remorse. Number 1. Louis LaMonica Jr. Louis LaMonica Jr., the pastor of Hosanna Church in Louisiana, was once a respected community leader. By 2005, his church had dwindled to a few members, and its final years were marked by horrific revelations. LaMonica confessed to leading a satanic cult within the church, committing unspeakable acts of child abuse and ritualistic crimes. Investigators uncovered evidence of occult practices, including pentagrams and disturbing rituals involving children. In 2008, LaMonica was convicted of multiple crimes and sentenced to life in prison, leaving behind a legacy of betrayal and horror. Thanks for joining us on Creepshow as we delved into the hidden lives of these seemingly innocent monsters. If you enjoyed uncovering these dark tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Stay curious, but always stay cautious.